Hi, I'm Jessica, and this is my story. It's a story of love, trust, and ultimately betrayal. For years, I believed I had the perfect relationship with Mark, my high school sweetheart. We had everything: shared dreams, goals, a beautiful home in California, and a life that seemed like it could only get better. But I never imagined that the one person I trusted most would break my heart in the worst way possible. It all started one evening when I was going through Mark's phone. I never imagined I'd find anything. I trusted him, but as I scrolled through, I saw a message pop up from a woman I didn't know. My stomach dropped. It was one of those moments where your gut tells you something isn't right. The messages weren't just casual. They were intimate. I didn't need to read more to know what was going on. Mark had been cheating on me for over a year. I remember feeling like the ground had been ripped from under me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. All I could feel was a rush of shock and pain. How could he do this to me? After everything we had been through together, how could he betray me like this? The next few days were a blur. I confronted him, of course. I wanted answers, but all he could offer was an apology, words that felt hollow. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to forgive him and go back to the way things were. But I knew deep down that things would never be the same. We went to counseling, trying to save what was left of our relationship. But nothing seemed to heal the wound he had inflicted. The trust was gone, and no amount of therapy could bring it back. I asked myself every day, can I forgive him? Can I move past this? And the truth was, I wasn't sure. What made it even harder was knowing how deeply this betrayal affected me. I was no longer the woman I used to be, full of confidence and certainty. Now, I questioned everything: my worth, my value. I asked myself, am I not enough? Why wasn't I enough for him to stay faithful? And then there was the guilt. I felt guilty for not seeing the signs. How had I missed them? How had I been so blind to what was happening right under my nose? It made me question my judgment and my ability to trust. But in the midst of all this confusion, I realized something. I had to make a choice. I could either let this define me, or I could find a way to move forward. The hardest part was accepting that sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes you have to let go to save yourself. It took months of sleepless nights, crying and soul-searching. I had to rebuild my life, piece by piece. And in doing so, I realized that healing doesn't come from waiting for someone else to fix things. Healing comes from within. I had to learn to forgive, not for Mark, but for myself. I had to learn to trust again. Not just him, but the process of life and the journey I was on. It's been over a year now since I discovered Mark's betrayal. I've learned a lot about myself, about love, and about the strength I never knew I had. The pain is still there, but it no longer defines me. I am not the woman who was broken by betrayal. I am the woman who chose to rise above it. So, what's next for me? I'm not sure. But one thing I know for certain is that I am worthy of a love that is real, a love that is built on trust, respect, and honesty. I'm learning to love myself again, and that's the first step to finding true happiness. If you're going through something like this, I want you to know you are not alone. We all experience pain and we all have our battles. But don't let someone else's actions define who you are. You are strong, you are worthy, and you deserve the love you give.